Hey guys, good afternoon. Welcome to the 330 Sports Show. Today is Thursday, September 16th, 2021. I'm your host, Justin Coffin, and we are live from Youngstown studio. We do have phone lines open, 330-595-1600. Again, 330-595-1600. Thursdays are going to be very heavy on football. So I'm going to have Lucas throw up this first graphic and basically show you what a summary of what Thursday is going to be. Obviously, I am a Browns fan. We're going to talk a lot about Browns football. We will talk about the AFC North. We'll talk about the Bengals. We'll talk about the Steelers. We'll talk about the Ravens. We're going to talk about some of those games that they are playing this weekend coming up. We're going to get into Ohio State trying to rebound from the loss to Oregon, coming back this week against Tulsa. We also will feature Steve Leslie of YSN coming up in the back half of the show. And finally, we'll have some Thursday thoughts, which are just some random thoughts that I have, whether it's pop culture, music, movies, whatever it might be. So we'll have some of those coming up to later in the show. So again, phone lines are open if you'd like to talk at all, 330-595-1600. We're going to actually start with Ohio State. So Ohio State takes on Tulsa this weekend, the Tulsa Golden Hurricane, one of those nicknames that does not end with an S. If you try to think about it, most Buckeyes, Browns, Cavs, Indians, whatever, most of those teams end with S. But Golden Hurricane, one of those teams that don't. Little fun fact there. But I want to talk starting with Ohio State's. Let's just talk real quick about the Oregon game one more time before we turn the page and move on. So the reason games like that hurt so much is because Ohio State does not lose very often. Okay, so I went back since the 2012 season, and these are their regular season losses. So just listen to this. Since 2012, in 2012, 12-0, no regular season losses. 2013, 12-0, no regular season losses. 2014, second game of the year, they lose to Virginia Tech. They go on to win the national championship, 14-1. Sounds very familiar to this year, second game of the season. We'll talk about that in a minute. 2015, arguably one of Ohio State's best teams. They got upset in the final seconds in the second to the last game against Michigan State. 2016, loss on a crazy play to Penn State. 2017, two losses. Oklahoma, which Baker Mayfield was the quarterback of that team. Trey Sermon, who was a Buckeye last year, was also a running back on that team. And they also lost to Iowa that year. In 2018, a weird, wacky, crazy loss to Purdue on the road. 2019, undefeated. 2020, undefeated. And then this year, 2021, last week, we obviously know the loss to Oregon. So again, 2012, 13, 19, 20. So 4 of those years undefeated. And in the last, so let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if you include this season, that's 10 years. In those 10 years in the regular season, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 losses in 10 seasons in the regular season. Not bad, but that's why these games hurt. So, again, I just wanted to emphasize Ohio State is in a great position. They are a wonderful football team. They are going to do some great things. They're trying to figure out right now on the defensive side of the ball, and that is a problem. Tulsa is going to throw some different looks at them. They might score some points, but Ohio State is kind of just throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks. So hopefully some of it sticks because they have some good athletes, but the scheme, the fit, the players all have to get better. I listened to a Ryan Day press conference a day or two ago, and he was legitimately just genuinely pissed off. And but it's good to see that fire, that passion, because these guys are not giving up on this season. So I think you're going to still see a lot of great things from the Buckeyes. And let's give Oregon a little bit of credit. Oregon has jumped to number 4 in the poll overall, and to lose by 7 to Oregon. Obviously, it was at home, but let's give them some credit too. But Ohio State hopefully bounce back win in a big way against Tulsa this weekend. So here's some things I'm looking for, and just some just points of emphasis that I jotted down. So Ohio State's passing offense. Let's start there. So these are most of these are positive. Ohio State's passing offense ranks top 10 nationally through the first 2 weeks in both total yards. They have 778 passing yards in the first 2 weeks, which is 7th in the country out of 130 schools. And total yards. And then passing yards per game, 389 passing yards per game, which ranks 4th nationally. So pretty good. The Buckeyes have, as I mentioned, 778 passing yards in the first 2 games this season. That tops their previous total in school history, which was 700 in 2018. For the first time in school history, Ohio State had 3 100-yard receivers. We talked about this on Tuesday. So Jackson Smith-Njigba had 146 yards. Olave had 126 yards. And Garrett Wilson had 117 yards. First time in school history to have 3 receivers over 100 yards in a game. You're not going to see too many offenses like this around the country or at Ohio State. So you have to take advantage of these skill players you have. We'll talk real quick about Olave. He set a career high with 12 receptions against Oregon. And he now has over 2,000 yards total in his career. On the defensive side of the ball, linebacker Taraja Mitchell and Ronnie Hickman have led the Buckeyes in tackles in back-to-back game. They both have over 10 tackles in each of those games. So, those are, we'd like to say a positive sign, but the defense needs to really pick up, the defense around them really needs to pick up their game. This Saturday will be the second meeting between Ohio State and Tulsa. Ohio State won 48-3 in 2016. Also, Tulsa's season so far, this is going to be their 3rd game of the year. They have started the season with 2 close games. So 19-17, they lost against UC Davis, who is a Division II football team, I believe. But last week, they bounced back and beat Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State 28-23. So, I don't know what to make of them. I'll give you my prediction here in a minute, but I think Ohio State wins this game fairly easily. Another thing, Tulsa is a member of the American Athletic Conference, the AAC, and Ohio State is 31-3-1 in their history against members from that conference. Their last loss from that conference came in 1950 against number 10 SMU. A couple other notes. Unfortunately, we talked about this Tuesday. Josh Proctor, arguably Ohio State's best defender, is out for the season. He had a broken leg and will not be back. He will be missed, but hopefully it's kind of rally around, the next guy up. Hopefully, just next guy up, next man up kind of thing. So, and then, I just want to finish with my prediction for Ohio State. I think, and I looked at the line. I think it's somewhere around 24.5, 25.5. I think Ohio State wins 49-17. So I think they will cover the spread. I think they're going to come back, bounce back in a big way. Hopefully the defense really steps up because that is what's lacking. I think the offense is going to be just fine, but the Ohio State defense is what really needs to step up. Moving on, one other note for college football. I had mentioned USC coaching job is vacant right now. Clay Helton was fired. They have an interim head coach there. But I've heard reports, Urban Meyer kind of shut down rumors that he would go there. Seahawks coach Pete Carroll said he just thought that was ridiculous that they asked him that question. He shut rumors down. My 2 lead candidates that I would pick to be the USC coach for next year would be James Franklin of Penn State or Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. There have been reports about him coming to USC. So we'll see. If I had to put money on it, I would put my money on one of those two guys being the next head coach of the USC Trojans. Quick YSU note, they are off this weekend. Obviously, they played Michigan State, and previous to that had a win against Incarnate Word. They are 1-1. They are on bye this week. They will take on Western Illinois the following Saturday at home. I believe that is a 6 o'clock kickoff. We'll talk about that with Steve Leslie as he joins us next week. All right, let's move on to the Cleveland Browns. Okay, let's move on to the Cleveland Browns. They have a game this week, week 2 against the Houston Texans. And, you can come into this week and the Browns are 0-1, the Texans are 1-0, but we know this will probably should be an easy victory for the Browns. Now, in the NFL, there's no givens. There's no freebies. Every team has spectacular players. Now, the Browns just happen to have a lot more spectacular players, so hopefully they can really assert themselves against the Texans. Now, last week, week 1, the Texans had a 37-21 victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars. That was obviously Urban Meyer's first start as an NFL head coach. That was Trevor Lawrence's first start in the pros. So a really nice victory for the Texans, kind of a surprising victory, putting up that many points. But Jacksonville is going to be very, very bad this year. They're going to be not a very good football team. So not a surprise the Texans won. I don't expect the Texans to win a ton of games this year, but the Jaguars probably going to win fewer than what the Texans put out there. Our old friend Tyrod Taylor returns as the Texans quarterback. He will be under center for the Texans. If you remember, he was the starting quarterback when Baker was drafted. Baker backed him up and then took over for him. I believe that was week 2 or week 3 into the season. That Thursday night game, Baker kind of came over, let it come back win over the Jets. And then last year, you might remember what happened to Tyrod Taylor. He had that some sort of injection where he was the Chargers quarterback, and I think it was his own medical staff sort of like stabbed him in the lungs, basically with some sort of cortisone shot or something, and that pretty much got Justin Herbert into the starting position for the Chargers and moved Tyrod Taylor to the bench. So he returns. He looked good last week, but again, against Jacksonville, take that with a grain of salt. They will have some familiar names on their team. Mark Ingram, obviously Heisman Trophy winner, formerly at Alabama, played a long time with the Saints, moved on to Baltimore, now with the Texans. David Johnson, Phillip Lindsay, Brandon Cooks had a really nice game last week. Danny Amendola. So you're going to hear a lot of names on the Texans that you recognize, but I think a lot of those guys are either over the hill or just not the same that they used to be. The big name that you will not hear playing for the Texans will obviously be Deshaun Watson. If you followed what's happened with him off the field, obviously stuff we're not going to get into, but a lot of legal situations going on with him. Could be a trade candidate, but he is a top 5 quarterback when he plays and when healthy. So what I'm looking for, Lucas, I'm going to have you chime in a minute, but
Sure.
what I'm looking for the Browns this week is an improved defensive effort. You're not playing the Kansas City Chiefs. The Browns last week obviously had some defensive struggles, but overall, I thought played fairly well for the most part. You're going to see Myles Garrett. You're going to see Clowney. You're going to see John Johnson III. You're going to see, Tack McKinley. All these different guys, step up, show up. And I think for the Browns, this defense will be much improved. You're not going to see a better offense than the Kansas City Chiefs the rest of this season. there might be some teams with some individual skill guys that are going to maybe have some decent games, but as a whole team, you're not going to see Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes. You're not going to see a better trio than that the entire year. So I have a few more thoughts, but Lucas, what's your thoughts going into week 2 for the Browns?
I'm excited. I think it's going to be our first win. I hate to come out and just say it, knock on wood, but
Yeah.
If we play the exact same as we played the week before, I think we'll get a W, honestly. I mean, we played, besides like 2 big mistakes, we had that game in the bag, I think.
Okay.
So I think if we come out like we did last week, we play smart with our head on our shoulders and not get, ejections and stupid penalties.
Sure.
But I mean, it's the Browns, so
right.
we factor that in. But I think we could pull out a W pretty easily this week. Yeah, I think we have the talent to kind of do it.
No doubt. Well, and you can hear Stefanski sort of has the team taking on his personality, and he won't put up with stuff that happened with Ronnie Harrison and stuff like that. Mistakes happen, but it's like, okay, you make a mistake once, that's fine. You move on, you learn from it, you get better, but you can't let crap like that get in the way of team success. So I still don't know what's happened with the Chiefs, one of their coaches, but we'll keep an eye on that because that dude needs to be suspended.
There needs to be some kind of repercussion on both sides. I mean, it was wrong on both sides. It was. And I think, it's unfair, and it definitely speaks volumes to how the refs treat the Browns, I think. Granted, I mean, it's been a lot better recently, but the Browns always usually get the short end of the stick.
You sound like Juju Smith-Schuster with the Browns is the Browns.
I mean, they're going to do what they're going to do, but yeah, I think there needs to be repercussions for that coach because, I mean, just unacceptable behavior on both sides.
Exactly. And, again, you learn from it. But you know what I thought was the most interesting thing about that whole altercation? I went back and rewatched it, and who was calming him down the most but Myles Garrett?
Yeah.
And who better to do it? Someone that has learned
exactly
from that, obviously a huge mistake against the Steelers, one that will never be forgotten. But, he obviously has learned from that, gotten better, and you have to keep your emotions in check, especially in a big game like that.
100%.
A big game.
You're going up against one of the best teams in the league.
We're talking about the Chiefs now, not the Texans.
Chiefs, yeah, no, not Texans. But yeah, I think that, and I really like the play calling, honestly. The play calling has been great.
Yes.
And I love the boldness, the ballsiness of what,
no doubt,
Stefanski's out here doing. I think, we're a completely different team than we were last year. And, miles ahead of where we were 2 to 3 years ago.
Think about last year's opening game. They got crushed by Baltimore. And we had not seen Stefanski. We had not seen this team. So we were like, oh, it's the same old Browns. It's going to be a long season. Little did we know that team was propelled and went on to success. They, after every loss last year, I believe they bounced back with a win. And that is so big to, stop the bleeding. Don't turn one loss into a losing streak.
Right.
And obviously the Texans give you a lot of hope because they are not a great football team, but the Browns have to, and I think Stefanski has sort of preached, hey, we're playing the 1-0 Houston Texans. Think what you want about them, but they have a better record than the Browns right now. And the Browns got to go in, take care of business, get to 1-1, win the week, go to 1-0, and move on. So I like your mindset there too. I'm looking for continued success on the offensive side of the ball. Like you said, the play calling was excellent. Odell Beckham Jr., again, has been ruled out for week 2. And I think that was sort of one of those things where you have a game plan you want to implement. And from what I heard Stefanski say, he wanted to sort of get the game plan in early and not have the distraction of will Beckham play or will not play. So everyone goes into that game. Anthony Schwartz, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Njoku, whoever it might be, Hooper, all the other receivers. Maybe they try to get the kid from UCLA involved, the rookie. So you have the Browns. The best thing about the Browns is they have a ton of weapons, and sort of next guy up. Jarvis Landry is more of your Jeep. He's your utility guy. He is going to be there for you. He's going to get you out of some tricky situations. Odell Beckham is sort of your Lamborghini. You only
100%.
break him out every now and then, but when he plays, hopefully he's going to be a stud and that, sort of that sexy, player for you. So
you're going to know when he's on the field.
Exactly. And he being on the field, he might not necessarily put up huge numbers, but he will be keyed on by the defense that will,
100%.
Open up Jarvis. That will open up the tight ends. That will open up Kareem Hunt out of the backfield. So it's something else for the defense to think about. But while he's out, I don't want to dwell on him being out. I want to hopefully that opens the door for some of these other guys to, step up, make some plays, stuff like that. So,
yeah, I think it's more precautionary than anything that he's sitting out this week. And I really like that because it shows that the Browns have an outlook for the future rather than just getting, 500 season.
Exactly.
I think that really excites me. That's something that, I'd love to see him come in and be healthy and 100% rather than, risk something.
No doubt. And after last week, after week 1, the Browns are 0-1, but they had the number 1 graded offense on Pro Football Focus, which just shows you how impressive, like you said, that offense was last week. So very, very impressive. The Browns, this is their home opener, maybe the most anticipated home opener since 1999 when they returned. I can't remember being this excited for a Browns first, it's first home game of the season. So with that performance against the Chiefs, who have been the best team in football over the last 3 years, it gives you a lot of hope. So,
100%.
but with that, you cannot rest on, hey, we played a good game last week. No more moral victories. You step up, you get better, you learn from it, and you move on. So, those are my thoughts on the Browns and the Chiefs this week. Just a few more thoughts as we move on. I want to talk real quick about this pick'em that we're going to be doing. So this year, this season, last year I had some guests that were on and we would make weekly picks and it was sort of just for fun. And I wanted to have a little bit more fun with it this year. So what we are going to do, we are going to bring in some guests of the show. We're going to bring in some friends of the show, some other podcasters from Youngstown, some other organizations. So what we did, my show, along with Lisa Resnick's Home and Hops, Joe down here that runs Youngstown Studios, the MLO Bros, Luke and Isaac Schuster, Youngstown Pizza Reviews, Jeremy and Grace, Ellie Platt from Platt Insurance. Who else have we got? We got Northeast Ohio Flag Football, which is Ben Figley. And actually, my mom, who is a huge NFL fan, and she is the founder of Project MKC, she's going to be making picks this year. So we have 10 different people making picks. So those are sort of, I'm going to call these are the players this year. Now, we want to make these picks and we want to have a little bit of fun with it. And here's the games we're picking. We're gonna pick the Chiefs and the Ravens. Now, some people might look at these lines if you're watching this later on Thursday night or Friday or whatever before the games kick off. I had to have these graphics ready by the show today. So what I did is I took and I, putting everybody out in a group message and stuff like that. We made our picks and these lines were from Wednesday. So these lines will be accurate as of the Wednesday of the game week, if that makes sense going forward. So we have the Chiefs and we have the Ravens. The Chiefs are a 4-point favorite. So we're going to all pick that game. We have the Bills and the Dolphins. The Bills are a 3-point favorite. The Bengals and the Bears. The Bears, are the Bears the 3-point favorite in that? I believe they are. The Raiders and the Steelers. The Steelers are a 5.5-point favorite. And then the Browns and the Texans. The Browns are an 11.5-point favorite, which is pretty big number in the NFL. So we're going to pick those games. I'll show you the picks here in a minute. We're not going to go through all 50 picks because we just don't have that sort of time. But we are doing this for a good reason, a good cause. Now, I had each of you're going to see 9 different charity organizations on here, and we are going to each designate a charity. So we're each throwing in $50. So 10 of us, $500. And the winner of the pick'em, all that $500 will go to these charities. So the charities we have are the Farm Bureau of Trumbull County. We have Akron Children's Hospital. We have the Melina Michelle Edenfield Foundation. We have Rosalie's Forever Footprints. We have Project MKC. We have the Oh Wow Science Center. We have Animal Charity of Ohio, and we have a 5K for JK, as well as a new one that's going to be coming soon, the Youngstown Pizza Project. So we are going to try to highlight and feature each one of these organizations throughout, each week going forward. But really excited about this. This should be fun. It's going to be just a fun segment that we do, but also, for a good cause. So we're going to try to focus on the AFC North team. So Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. Each week that they play, they will be a part of this poll. And then we'll try to pick another game or two that might be a featured matchup throughout that week. So again, those were the organizations we're going to talk about. And then I'm just going to put up the picks here. Again, we're not going to go through all of these picks, but we'll put them out there on social media for everybody to see. But I'm going to go with the Chiefs, the Bills, the Bengals, the Steelers, and the Browns this week. And then we'll keep a tally. We'll obviously, we didn't do this week 1, but we'll keep a cumulative season record going for each player. And we'll talk about each of those people will have a stake in this, and we'll have a different charity organization that will benefit from this. And if anybody else wants to get involved, we can talk about that on the side. But this should be a lot of fun going forward, and something new. We're going to try it and see how it goes. So looking forward to that. We're going to pick, like I said, 5 games each week, and we'll go with that. So again, it's myself, Joe Danier, Lisa Resnick, Luke and Isaac Schuster, Jeremy and Gracie Oclada, Jenny Kennedy, Ben Figley, and Ellie Platt. Those are going to be our 10 representatives for our team challenge. So that should be a lot of fun. And, we're looking forward to that. I want to move on real quick before we get to our Zoom call with Steve Leslie. And I want to do our Thursday Thoughts segment. So again, Thursday is going to be pretty heavy on football. We're going to talk all 3 levels: high school, college, and NFL. So we've talked about the Buckeyes, we've talked about the Browns and some of these pick'em games, and now we're going to talk high school football here in a minute with Steve Leslie, and I'll tell you about some of his bullet points that we talked about. But before, we also are going to have another segment called Thursday Thoughts. I'm just going to throw a few things at you, keep it short, but just a few things that happened, over the past week. I want to start with Michael K. Williams. Michael K. Williams was an actor on The Wire and Boardwalk Empire. He passed away in the past week, and just wanted to say rest in peace to him. If you've ever seen The Wire, it's one of HBO's best shows of all time. If you haven't, I highly recommend go checking it out. I still have to catch up on a lot of it, but he will be missed. This character also played a character named Chalky White on Boardwalk Empire. That's a bootlegging show about prohibition. Again, another HBO show, phenomenal show. Highly recommend it. So definitely check that out if you get an opportunity. I also want to also say rest in peace to the late, great, he just passed away a day or two ago, but Norm Macdonald. He's a fairly young guy. I think he was only 61, but I mostly remember Norm Macdonald from my middle school, early high school years when he was on SNL, and he was the host of Weekend Update for a while, but he was also just this goofy guy that acted like he didn't give a shit, and it was hilarious. If you remember the Celebrity Jeopardies, he played Burt Reynolds a lot. He was Turd Ferguson, I believe, on there. But I remember him from Billy Madison, just being the goofy friend when he's like, Billy's like, what day is it? He's like, October, one of those things. So he was just the drunk, goofy friend that was always around. And he was also in a movie called Dirty Work that I've seen bits and pieces. He had his own sitcom, but he was just a genuinely funny dude. and he will be missed. So if you are too young maybe to remember Norm Macdonald, go to YouTube, Google some of his clips, and he will make you laugh. He has a very dry sense of humor, but definitely someone to watch and give you a few laughs. So rest in peace to Norm Macdonald and Michael K. Williams, two guys gone too soon, unfortunately, but they left a strong legacy in the entertainment world. And something I just finished watching that I want to just give a quick, I tend to watch, like an episode a night or something like that before I go to bed of like a series or a movie or something like that. So this past week, I believe it's only 8 episodes, but it's on Netflix. It's called Clickbait. Definitely recommend it. I can't think of the actor's name, but he used to be the main dude on Entourage, and the main dude that had the whole entourage. But he is one of the main stars of the movie, of this miniseries. It focuses on an individual person through each episode, through this kidnapping, and it takes you through all these different things online, and I highly recommend it. It's something, a lot of twists and turns. I'm not going to give any spoilers away, but something definitely to watch is Clickbait on Netflix. Very, very good miniseries. So those are my Thursday thoughts for the week. I want to real quick before we get into our Zoom call, I want to apologize to Steve Leslie, because him and I record usually on Wednesday night. My internet Wi-Fi was very weak and spotty. So Armstrong, I'm looking at you. I pay Armstrong like $100 a month. I have like the best internet you can have, but it freaking drops all the time. So Armstrong, I'm pissed. Get it right. Fix it. So again, here's what I want to talk real quick in case anything is lost in translation on this Zoom call. But Steve Leslie's biggest matchups of the week, excuse me, losing my voice. This happens about once a month. But his biggest matchup of the week are South Range and Poland, West Branch and Canton South, Canfield and Cheney, Mineral Ridge and Springfield, and Ursuline versus Warren Harding. So those are his top 5 biggest matchups of the week. And then I do want to highlight some individual performances that he had from last week. So we're going to start with Antoine Gardner, from Niles, Keegan McDermott of Champion, Cam Thompson of Boardman. Listen to this name. What a football name this is. Blaze X-Line. If you're a football player and your name is freaking Blaze, you're going to be good. I can tell. It's like if your name is Jeeves, you're going to be a good butler. But Blaze X-Line, I believe he's a wide receiver at Salem. And I think the Salem quarterback is named Johnson. I think that's the coach's son, and he's had a really, really nice year.
Even the last name.
I know, X-Line too. Yeah.
It's like sweet last name.
Like Blaze, go run an X-Line route out to the sideline. You're going to have, just
he makes it big. He'll get routes named after him.
Exactly. I mean, what a cool name. And Bo Snyder at Springfield, we've talked about his teammate named Bo, but if your name is Bo and you're from Springfield, apparently you're just good at football. His teammate just committed to YSU, Bo Brungard. So congratulations to him. But Bo Snyder is one of Steve's top performers of the week from Springfield. Demarcus Mcelroy from Ursuline. This kid is phenomenal. And Ursuline and Fitch, I only saw a few of the highlights from last week. It was one of the games of the week last week. But, Fitch ended up going for 2 for the win and ended up not getting it. Ursuline came out on top. But I think the final score, it was like 49-48 or 42-41, something like that. So, I mean, Ursuline just puts up points every single week, no matter what. They are a team that is going to make a very, very deep run in the high school playoffs. And then finally, DJ Williams. That's another just cool name. DJ Williams, I think there was a DJ Williams that played linebacker at the University of Miami way back when, maybe on one of those national title teams. But DJ Williams is just like a good football name. But he plays for Austintown Fitch, also had a great week last week. So Antoine, Keegan, Cam, Blaze, Bo, Demarcus, and DJ, you are Steve Leslie's best individual performances from week 4. So congratulations to those guys, and best of luck to them going forward the rest of the season. So we are going to go now to our interview with Steve Leslie. Again, I apologize for any internet connections. Hopefully it plays through. Well, I think you'll be able to get most of the points, but Steve breaks down those individual performances, the undefeated teams that are remaining. There's only 5 of them left in the Valley, and he'll talk and break down these week 5 matchups. So with that said, we're going to throw it over to the video, and we will see you guys all next weekend. Go Buckeyes, go Browns. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will talk to you soon. Here's Steve Leslie from YSN. Hey guys, Justin Coffin here for the 330 Sports Show. Joining me as always on his we record these on Wednesday night for Thursday's show is Steve Leslie. Steve had a busy weekend last weekend, to say the least, going up to Michigan State to cover the YSU game. Also, we talked about a rough sports weekend for us, but we get on and move past that. But Steve, going into this weekend, after this weekend, we are halfway through the regular season of high school football. So pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. Week 5, so we'll be at the halfway mark. Yeah, not a good sports weekend for the Ohio folks. Took a trip down to Lansing, and obviously, they're very talented. I thought we did some things well going into a bye week here for YSU. So hopefully we could get prepared for the league opener to follow next week against Western Illinois at 6. So, and then Ohio State losing and the Browns losing. So it was a rough week, but like you said, you turn the page and get ready for this week. Justin, it's hard to believe that it's week 5 in football.
Really
I look at it, and one of the things we start with were the undefeated teams. We had a pretty good list, and now we're down to 5. So week 5, 5 undefeated. West Branch still remains a powerhouse. Salem, who had another great win. South Range, who's playing phenomenal football. We'll talk about them in a little bit. Garrettsville Garfield had another big win. They beat an undefeated LeBray. And Hubbard, you have to give a shout out to Hubbard. Come back down from 23 to 6 and beat a good Poland team. So those are the 5 undefeateds. We hope that continues. We're proud of all of them being YSN schools also. So from YSN, another big weekend. I go back and look at some games this week. Not a schedule that is an eye-popper with matchups. Teams are in the league play. But the one that I look at to start out with is South Range, 4-0. And they're going to travel to Poland, who's battling right now. They're 2-2 and lost the league game last week to Hubbard. So this is a huge game for Poland at home. Going to take on South Range, who won the NE8 last year, beat Poland at home. So an opportunity for Poland, and it's a must-win for them to get themselves back in the league. I think that, Fulton played well last week. They gave up a lead. So I'm curious to see how they answer back against another huge opponent. We'll have that game on YSN. South Range is 4-0. Dylan Dominguez is one of the best running backs in the area. They're talented. The Coach Yeagley does a great job. It's going to be a great ball game. But Coach Pavlansky is in a spot now for Poland. If they want to contend for the NE8, we'll have to be a good South Range team at home. So that's game 1. Game 2, this is a rivalry game. It's a league game. West Branch is 4-0. DeShields, the quarterback, is phenomenal. They're scoring over 40 points a game. They're 4-0. They're going to take on a good Canton South team who's 3-1. So there's the makings to be a very competitive game. I think there'll be a lot of points scored in this game. Like I said, West Branch has been putting up a ton of points. Canton South is always a good football program. So for a tough league opponent. have that game on YSN also. So that's game 2, West Branch against Canton South. And but it's a game that I think West Branch will prevail. I kind of think that they'll put up a ton of points again and win that one fairly easy.
Okay.
Game 3, this is an interesting one. I think Canfield played phenomenal last week. They're 3-1. They went to New Philadelphia and shut out a good New Philly team. Talked with Coach Pav today a little bit. He was thrilled, thought it was their best performance. The offensive line played well. They're starting to gel, and they're going to take on Cheney, who's now back to 500, 2-2. Coach Emil has it going on over there. It's a difference in styles. I think you're going to see the speed of Cheney and athleticism against the bigger Canfield team. I think this is one of the better games of the year. I do. I think it'll be close. Canfield and Cheney have played for years. It's always a battle. Coach Emil and Coach Pav are 2 of the better coaches. I look for Canfield and Brock Lowry to maybe be able to throw the ball. Mm-hmm. It's a game that I think Canfield will win, but I think it'll be a close one. Game number 4, Mineral Ridge, 2-2. Coach Shaner at home on the new turf, going to host Springfield. And there's that team that we talked about, lost the first one. Coach Guerrero, Bo Brungard commits to YSU. Has had great games, beat an undefeated Lowville team last week. They really handed it to them. One of the guys, Bo Snyder, the running back, Justin, had 6 touches in the game and scored 3 touchdowns for Springfield. So Springfield's starting to kick it into gear. It's a league game, and it's a must-win for Mineral Ridge. And obviously at home with the new turf, should be a great crowd. And I think that that's going to be a good ball game. But the way Springfield has answered the last 3 weeks against Geneva and then against Lowville, I think it's a game that Springfield will win.
Okay. Very good.
Last but not least, Ursuline. For anybody that watched that game against Spitz last week, the athletes in that game, the excitement of that game was one of the better football games I was able to watch at the hotel. You have to give Coach Parker credit for going for the win, no doubt. Both teams fought hard. It's a game that I think both of them will look back on as they are both playoff teams, in my opinion. And I think that will be a stepping stone for both of them to continue to get better. Ursuline's 3-1. This is one of those games for me, Justin. They're going to go to Harding. Harding's 1-3. They're struggling. Played a better second half against Massillon last week. I think the Irish need to be aware of this one, that Harding's going to come out ready to play. Mm-hmm. They always play Ursuline tough in Warren. They beat Ursuline last year, so Ursuline will be looking for a bounce back. But the records don't show it. Harding's talented, very good quarterback. And obviously, Demarcus Mcelroy, which I'll talk about here in a second, was unbelievable. But that's game 5. Ursuline 3-1 versus Harding 1-3. The 5 that I named we'll have on YSN live. We're proud of that, to have all the games. Obviously, we'll have the primetime show tomorrow night, Thursday night at 5 o'clock from Poland. I'll be there with DJ, and we're looking forward to that. So the Audible show will be at 7 o'clock. So from a YSN standpoint, another full week of high school football for us. So we're looking forward to that.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I say it every week, but you guys really do a great job. Every game is great. You get out all those schools to all the different not just our area, but all around the state, all around the country. Even like I told you, I've heard other people have tuned in from out of state, Illinois. I've heard grandparents watching in Pennsylvania and the East Coast. I just think that's so great. So what you guys do is fantastic.
Well, we appreciate it. Yeah, well, we appreciate your support. We appreciate you letting us come on and talk about YSN, obviously. And I can't thank DJ and Brian enough for the vision that they have. We continue to grow, and thanks to all the great sponsors and supporters like you and all our great fans. So it'll be another fun week at YSN for sure.
No doubt.
And last but not least, the top 5. And I had a hard time. There was so many guys. So we're a little over 5 tonight, but that's okay. These gentlemen all deserve a shout out. Number 1, Niles High School, Antoine Garner, 206 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. Hats off. Anytime that you rush for over 200 yards in a high school game is phenomenal. The young man had 4 touchdowns, so hats off to Antoine Gardner from Niles. Number 2, Champion High School, Keegan McDermott, another guy, Justin, that rushed for 219 yards, and he scored 4 touchdowns. So hats off to him, and hats off to the entire team at Championship. Well-deserved. To rush for that many yards, you have to have a great offensive line. So shout out to Keegan McDermott and all the folks at Champion on a great performance. Number 3 was my Spartan player profile last week, Cam Thompson. Pretty good football game. Cam caught 4 passes for 183 yards and 2 touchdowns. And that's a team that's starting to click. They play Youngstown East this week. Terrence Thomas is back, the University of Purdue commit at quarterback, obviously O'Hore at running back. A game that Boardman should win, but for Spartan Nation, hats off to Cam Thompson and a great performance last week. Next one is Blaze Exline. I've talked about him a lot. The quarterback Johnson, the combo of Salem, they're undefeated. One of the best quarterback receiver tandems in our area. Blaze last week had 5 catches for 113 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he ran the ball for a touchdown. So he scored 4 times, continues to be a leader of a good Salem team that stays as one of those undefeated teams. So to Salem Nation, hats off to Blaze Exline. Another guy from Springfield, I talked about him a little bit, Bo Snyder, running back from Springfield, does a lot of good things, plays defense, plays offense. 6 touches in a game and you scored 3 times, Justin. That's a pretty awesome performance for a game that Springfield control of early. So was able to get Bo off his feet and Bo run guard also. So Springfield Nation player of the week. Shout out to Bo Snyder. And last but not least, this guy, Demarcus Mcelroy from Ursuline, 356 yards rushing against Austin Thompson, 4 touchdowns. It's the second best rushing total in the Ursuline history. So he's in the record books at number 2. Phenomenal game. I have to shout out Falcon running back, sophomore DJ Williams. He ran the ball for 154 yards and 2 touchdowns. Again, the guys in that game, unbelievable. So shout out to Ursuline High School, to the Ursuline faithful, and big shout out to Demarcus Mcelroy for a huge game, and also to DJ Williams and the Fitch folk for just a fabulous football game both ways. And those are Steve Leslie's top performers of week 4.
I love it. And we got a few guys on there that have been on your list before, a few newcomers as well. But I love hearing some of these numbers. They're video game numbers. They're really
off
are.
The charts. And you know what we talk about, guys, every week? We talk about him every week. TC Caffey, he only ran for 193 and 3 touchdowns. So I'm not positive, but I think he's over 1,000 yards in 4 weeks. The talent in our area is very good. Week 5 is going to be some top performers. But that's one of the favorite things that I do, to shout out, the undefeated teams, the top performers, and these teams that we cover, out to all of them. And that's what high school football means to our area. And that's for student sections, for the schools, for the bands, for the cheerleaders. There's so many people that spend a lot of time for high school football. And all of us at YSN are proud to cover it, no doubt.
Well, you guys do a great job. Steve, I apologize. We're having a little bit of internet connection, but I think we got everything in at least.
It's no problem.
Might have a little scratchy connection, but everything should play through. But again, Steve's top matchups of the week: South Range, Poland, West Branch, and Canton South. Canfield, Cheney, Mineral Ridge, and Springfield, Ursuline, and Warren Harding. You can check out all those games on YSN, and you can, not to mention the other 30 or so games you guys probably got covered that weekend. So you guys, again, hats off to you with what you do, and we appreciate you taking the time each and every week. I know you got about 5 or 6 different spots you're jumping around to every Wednesday night, so I thank you for joining me each Wednesday too, Steve.